Hi and welcome to morning stretching. And in between the exercises, I'm going to read a bit about neutron stars and I try to learn it. Participating in the exercises is at your own risk. So let's start with the first exercise. The legs are standing wide apart and the toes are pointing to the outside. And we breathe in. And we breathe out again. And we breathe in. And out. And again in. And out. Again in. Out. In. Out. And now one last time. Out. We breathe in. Close our legs. And we have done the opening exercise. Now, neutron stars. The first info snippet to neutron stars is so-called massive stars exist. So-called massive stars exist. So there is something which is called massive star. The next exercise. We have a leg standing. Pardon me for a moment. We have the legs standing, shoulder wide apart, maybe a little more. And we are bringing our arms up. And we are breathing out and going to one side. And now we breathe in again, open the rib cage. So breathe in. And out. And again in. And out, back into the middle. And now we breathe in. And out, and we come to the other side. And we breathe in and open the rib cage. And out. And again in. And out, back into the middle. So, massive stars exist. Massive stars exist. And a massive star can explode. So these massive stars exist and they can explode. And the explosion of a massive star can be a supernova explosion. So this explosion of a massive star can be a supernova explosion. A supernova explosion. Next exercise, again, have your feet standing a bit more and shoulder wide apart. We are breathing in. And we breathe out and one hand slides down the leg and the other shoulder stays down. And we breathe in. And out and we're taking the arm over. And we breathe in and open again with it. And out. And again in. And out, back into the middle. Now the whole thing to the other side. We breathe in. And out and one hand slides down the leg and the other shoulder stays down. And we breathe in. And out and we're taking the arm over. And we breathe in and open the rib cage again. So breathe in. And out. And again in. And out, back into the middle. So massive stars exist, and massive stars can explode in a so-called supernova explosion. After the massive star had a supernova explosion, a so-called gravitational collapse can happen. So this massive star can have a supernova explosion, and after that supernova explosion, that massive star can have a gravitational collapse. And during a gravitational collapse, the star is compressed. So this massive star has an explosion, and then a gravitational collapse, and the star is compressed. And because the star is compressed after the gravitational collapse following the supernova explosion, it reaches a high density. So this massive star has a supernova explosion, and then a gravitational collapse which compresses the massive star, and then it has a high density. Next exercise, we have the feet standing together. We are breathing in and bringing our arms out. And we breathe out and one hand comes down. And now we breathe in and reaching to both hands. So breathe in and reach. And out. And again in. And out, and the other arm comes down. And now we again breathe in and reaching. So breathe in and reach. And out. And we're going to do an exercise again. So breathe in. And out. And now breathe in and reach. And out. And again in. And out. And breathe in and reach. And out. And a neutron star is a massive star which had a supernova explosion followed by gravitational collapse which compressed the massive star into high density. So a neutron star is a massive star which had done a supernova explosion and then a gravitational collapse and is now in high density. That is a neutron star. The next exercise, let's look for the ball. Neutron stars don't generate heat anymore and they cool down. So these massive stars, which have come through the supernova explosion to gravitational collapse, neutron stars don't generate heat anymore and they cool down. Now we are having the legs standing wide apart and we breathe in and we're diving down. And we just hang here and we only have to come further down to the floor by breathing deep in through the nose into the chest and out through the mouth. So breathe deep and slowly in into the chest. And now breathe out again through the mouth. And again in through the nose. And out. And in. And breathe again out. One more time in. And now out we're going to one leg. And breathe again in. And out. And in. And again out. And then last time in. And now out we are changing to the other leg. And breathe in. And out. And again in. And out. One more time in. And out back into the middle. One last deep breath in. And out we're coming slowly up with a round back and then making a backward shoulder roll at the top. Neutron stars are massive stars which had a supernova explosion and then a gravitational collapse which compressed it to high density. And they don't generate heat anymore and cool slowly down. It is assumed that neutron stars are mostly composed of neutrons because the extreme density through the gravitational collapse after the supernova explosion had caused the electrons and protons to combine to additional neutrons. The next exercise, then I'm going to elaborate it again differently. We're breathing in, our feet standing together, and we're going down again. And now we breathe again in through the nose into the chest. And out through the mouth. And again in. And out. And again in. And out. One more time in. And out, we're coming slowly again out with a round back and making a big shoulder roll at the top. So these neutron stars exist mostly out of neutrons, because the protons and electrons have, through the extreme density, through the compression, also turned into neutrons. This extreme compression had caused, this extreme density through the compression had caused the protons and electrons to form into neutrons. A neutron star can collapse further into a black hole. So after the gravitational collapse, this neutron star can collapse even further into a black hole. And new neutron stars are very hot. So they are very hot then after the gravitational collapse. And the cooling down process takes many million years. So they don't generate heat anymore, but they are very hot at the beginning. And then they slow cooling down, but that cooling down process takes millions of years. And neutron stars can rotate several hundred times per minute. So these neutron stars don't just stand there around, but they can rotate, and this rotation is not slowly, but can happen several hundred times per minute. And the next exercise, the garden pose. Our toes are pointing to the outside, and we have around an inner space between our heels. We're breathing in, lifting the arms. And we're breathing out and going down, and we're placing our elbows at the insides of our knees. And now we breathe in, and we are trying to come tall up with our back. So breathe in. Now we breathe out, and we're going with our back up. And you breathe in again. And out, back into the garden pose. And we're breathing in again, and come tall up with the back. And out, last time up with the back. And breathe in. And out, back into the garden pose. And now we're going to breathe in, and when we breathe out again, we're coming up in one slow and straight line. So breathe in. And out, and we're coming up slowly in one straight line. And we have made our way to the final exercise, the seahorse pose. We have a standing leg, and the other mobile leg is placed with the heel above the knee. Do this only if you can do it without to injure your knee. Now we are breathing in, and we're breathing out, and we're coming down. So neutron stars. A neutron star is a massive star which had a supernova explosion and then a gravitational collapse. That is a neutron star. And neutron stars are very dense, and because they are so very dense, the protons and electrons have become neutrons, and these neutron stars are composed mostly out of neutrons because of that. And at the beginning they are very hot, and over a process of millions of years, they cool down. Now with the other leg and the heel of the knee, and they come down. And they can rotate several hundred times per minute. I think that's it. And coming up again. As we don't generate heat anymore. Okay, just a closing exercise. We have our legs standing wide apart, and we are breathing in and out. In and out. In and out. In and out. And now we're breathing in, closing our legs, and this was the morning stretching. So, neutron stars. A neutron star is a massive star which had a supernova explosion and then a gravitational collapse. And this gravitational collapse compresses this star. It has been very hot, and through the great compression it has a high density, and this high density causes the protons and electrons to combine into neutrons. It's a neutron star. And these neutron stars are at the beginning very hot, and they don't generate heat anymore, so they cool slowly down, which takes millions of years. And they can rotate several hundred times per minute. These were some info snippets to neutron stars. This was the morning stretching. I thank you very much, and until next time.